Welcome back to the corner. Can you trust that things are happening in unseen ways for you? When we're creating in this life, yes, we're not creating alone, we are co creating. But there are a few factors as to what determines us being in the liminal space, the waiting period, right? There's a big part of it where we ourselves are responsible for keeping ourselves in the waiting room. And then there's also a big part where we have to realize there is a lot of trust involved in whatever we do. Waking up every day in the 3D, waking up every day in the 4 in your mind, visualizing and seeing what's possible for you is very easy. It's very easy, right? There are people who are completely in the 4D, but that's a good question. Can you be truly in the 4D if you don't have trust in the 3D? But they lack trust, which involves consistency in something. The real question is, can you hold the signal long enough so that it materializes? Can you hold the signal? You can be the most imaginative, visually rich, maladaptive, daydreaming queen, king, knight, all you want. But if you are not able to ground the vision into fertile land, which is the 3D, it is not gonna happen. And you know what that requires? Consistently trusting your actions. The glue between the whole daydreaming, visualizing, feeling, all of that, and what we see in the 3D, the mass world, is your ability to trust in your actions and trust in yourself, because essentially that trust is in the world. Do you know how interesting it is to promise yourself when you're feeling super motivated that you're gonna do this thing every day for the next 300 and whatever days there are, and then you get to about day 20 and you're like, well, do I really need it? Do I really need to keep going? A lot of people haven't even gone this far. Let me make sure I'm recording this wonderful thing. A lot of people have gone this far. Do I really need to keep going? Even though it has not materialized, the trust that is needed for something to materialize takes time. It's a lesson of trust. So it's a lesson that you are a creator, right? If it's not even doing something in such a gritty way, it's more so I feel this so strongly when I'm imagining. I know it's possible, and it's also a true test of, do you think this is a kind universe? Is this universe kind or is it not? If it's kind, if it's generous, why wouldn't it give to you? And the true test of that is doing something consistently long enough without seeing the 3D manifestation of whatever you're working on. It is truly interesting and probably harder than it was, because before, I would say maybe a long time ago, people can lock themselves in a room and work on paintings, and they don't really need to go care about galleries or whatever it may be, or showing their work online. But we have gotten so used to receiving validation on social media that as we're working, as we're making ourselves feel seen, we post our work and we don't receive feedback for whatever reason it is, and then we ask ourselves, do we keep going? You have to keep going. When you were inspired, if you had set yourself, you saw that, hey, you know what, I'm gonna do this thing every day for however long, and I'm not gonna take a break, I'm just gonna do it. You can compromise and lose that momentum, because momentum is so important. I've mentioned this in one of my early videos, but once you taste, and usually for true momentum to develop, it's different for everyone. For me, it takes about 2 weeks for me to have proper momentum, and then it actually becomes hard for me to stop. It's easier for me to keep going than to stop. That's just my personality. So it's different for everyone, but I've learned now that it's so special that once I've tasted what momentum is, I know I gotta keep going. I know I gotta do that. So you've gotten yourself to the point where you are consistent now, right? As much as we want to talk about what we want to create, let's also do a cleanup of ourselves and what we want to remove, because we're making space. You can start with simple things. What do you want to get rid of in your household that does not fit with the person that is becoming? Aside from that, your rituals. I really want you to take a look at your rituals that you have set for yourself, because the person you are now and the person that you are becoming, they don't have, what is this? They do not have the same rituals. Clean this up. I don't know what the hell that was. Do not have the same rituals. And what are rituals said to be? It can be, okay, so you wake up and the first thing you used to do was check your phone. Now we're no longer doing that, right? Let's say you take a certain path in your walk, change that. Let's go to the deeper rituals. If you have a ritual of you post something and then you're constantly refreshing your page to see views, that is a ritual. Are you willing to cut that out? Because you cutting it out is going to make space, not only make space, but fully embody what someone who is abundant wouldn't do. I think what's interesting is we can make jokes out of these things and laugh about it and make videos about how I try to do this and it didn't happen, and now I'm making a video about it, which is fine and it's humorous and it touches on a collective issue. But guess what? You can make it's better. That's the situation you're in. Make a video about it. So relatable. At least you're a creator. But the people who are liking it and relating to it, they are in the waiting room. That just made me think of something interesting, which is you can touch on the collective issues, but it's one thing to make a video about it versus some being on the other line and just viewing it and liking and commenting. I had one of my early videos, I have talked about the importance of doing energetic alignment exercises, which is consciously going into states that trigger us, but also going into states that bring up or recalibrate us back into our frequency. And the importance of that is it's our muscles to identify loopholes. It's training our muscles to identify patterns in ourselves, and it really puts us in the observer seat of our own lives so that we can see what's happening, because physical exercise is not enough. I was doing an exercise yesterday that I found really interesting. I know my frequency when I feel it, but sometimes I forget that I trick myself to self-identify with someone else's frequency. And you can play a game with yourself. Learn your frequency by swiffing through different images and seeing how your body reacts. It's really gorgeous because once you get into the state of real softness, everything opens up. Ideas start flooding in that feel like they are so authenticity, being authentic, and quantum leaping. Authenticity and quantum. I'm talking over here to clear up my thoughts. And something cleared up in my frequency that made me feel like, oh, that is the direction that you should go in. Authenticity isn't expansion, such a natural state for everyone else as well. I wonder, do people know what makes them expand? Especially when you see things, opportunities like, oh, TikTok affiliates and blah, and there's this thing that, well, there's this formula and you have to follow it, and then you see that it doesn't work. But then I realized, if it feels so, I trust that it will be delicious to other people. And the thing is, why can't I trust that the most important thing is for me to find ways to replicate that deliciousness within myself? I think we're scared to truly feel ourselves expand, to truly trust what our version of expansion is. because it feels like we're gonna lose something, and we are gonna lose something temporarily, maybe even permanently. But you have to, if something feels so delicious to me and in my body and your body, which is the key, that's your authenticity, if you follow it, there is just no way that it's not going to appear. But can you trust, be with it if no one else is? Okay. The last thing I want to talk about, it's a big topic today, this whole idea of restlessness. If you are living in a capitalist society, right? I started working when, as soon as I could get my ass working, as soon as I came to this country and I got my work permit, I started working. But there's this feeling of FOMO and restlessness, and this feeling that because there's so many ways to go about things, so many things to do in a day, can I spread myself so thin that I'm not missing out on anything? And I think resting, taking care of ourselves, sleeping during the day when the sun is out feels so foreign. What is so important that I need to be everywhere at once? I think that also comes down to trust that I am taking the right action. Trust that you are taking the right action. You do not need to be everywhere at once. Can you slow down? Can you allow yourself to slow down and trust and believe that you're taking the right quantum inspired actions? Do things that make you feel expansive and not lying to yourself about what makes you feel expansive. I'll give you an example. Someone can talk about living in a bustling city like Sydney and whatever it may be. If that does not feel expansive in your body, if that doesn't feel authentic, relaxing, expansive, exciting in your body, you can utter the words, yes, that's what I want, just because the society is telling you that's what free women should desire. But if that truly does not feel expansive to you, first of all, it will never come about. It will not manifest because it's not something you want. Expansion is godliness. Expansion is your North Star. And as long as it feels delicious in your body and no one else agrees, it doesn't matter. It's, first of all, the leap will happen, your quantum leap will manifest it. But how it sits in your body will give you all you need to know about what is the path for you, what is the fastest path for you to get there.